drums, but I really wish.
I have a question. Are we moving?
In your places. It's just a congregation There was a day last week when I tell you I literally did not go to sleep. Not one time. It was like last Tuesday night into Wednesday, like at all. I'm like at all. I don't know, but I lived the whole about 3 hours. Dude, I took a sleep aid. I did nothing. I just could not go to sleep. And I was at 5 o'clock, rolled around, and I was like, well, guess I'll make some coffee. You keep thinking, oh, I'll fall asleep. 2 hours later, you're like, yeah, I'm still not asleep. Yeah.
I got to know and then John, our son was on which that is and I
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I've always been tricked. I feel like it's good to be like wrong with me over the course of my adulthood, and I have learned that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay with all of it. And like, I don't get relationships for myself. It's not like it's always felt like an important part of like a lot. But I do find it interesting to observe other people. And I have friends that like literally like they're like this all the time. Like they're not together. They only make and they do the whole like, oh, we love that restaurant. Oh, we love that. And I'm like, y'all love the same everything, like it's weird to me, but they like just like kind of like locked in. And then I have friends that like you didn't know. They're like, yeah, it's like how figure out their sort of personal ways to go about it. I want separate homes. This is one. Wait, I read an article maybe like a year ago. That's the goal. That were like the secret to our success in our marriage is separate bedrooms. They had a totally separate everything. They have my own space. I can go in there. It's all my stuff. It looks the way I want it to. It smells the way I want it to. And then like when I don't want that, then like I can just be right there with my mom.
The stole to lay flat on the back.
oh, please. Am I?
Yeah.
Is that better? Oh, thanks.
Firm mattress. Oh, really?
I had the TV going the other way.
Like I also they've done lots of studies that say that for the most part when people who cohabitate have separate bedrooms, they can sleep happier, they're all like, for the most part actually don't benefit from sharing a room. I want you to live in the next town. I want you to live in the next town. Don't even live in the But my mom and dad are like they're the like they do everything together, like they're always like forever. Like that's just what it is. Say that again. can't imagine having to navigate like that. I love that.
So this year,
In his mind, like,
he's more Jewish place. His family was
but he was super like old school traditional. Saw it happening. So one of my best friends, Alice, her husband has,
I still have some members.
I don't think maybe you can buy like the medical definition of death. Has hearing aids, I can't do well even with that. And it is the most amazing thing.
Okay.
Because she can, this is her audiobook. Doesn't bother her. She's like, it's me, and I like to listen to my own book, and it suits me, and I'm able to do that, and he's not bothered by it. We all win.
Our husband in Southeast Asia on a bicycle for a while. She and John were very sweet because she's amazing. That's something to take in there, you know. He isn't huge, but he's not this. That comes to the social things. But the bike.
My new daffodils are coming up, Cheryl. I'm so excited.
Mine too, the baby daffodils in front of my door.
I planted a bunch more. I've been planting a bunch every fall. For whatever reason, like, I don't try to say she's I'm like, I'm gonna come up like they never go.
Sure, you have
But
to
like every
sing to
time I'm
them.
like
Sure.
suspicious of it.
You have to sing to them.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole one.
They're standing.
I finally got some of the little cat attacks though, and I'm so excited. Oh, like I have maybe two or three like buds that look like they're about to bloom or two with the pressures I just saw like 3 weeks. My clothes are gone. I have a bunch of them. A lot of water. I do too with my side yard. I like it. I lean into it. It's pretty. It's good to walk on the rocks. Yeah.
It's like pretty.
to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Danbury. My name is Annie Chenal, and I've been a member here for 5 years. When you don't see me upstairs during the service, you'll probably find me downstairs engaged in spirit play with our 3 to 6-year-olds. As we gather together, please silence your phones if you have not done so already. I'm so glad that you were able to join us this morning because you're an essential part of our celebration. Whether today is your first or 1,000th Sunday in our midst, in person or online, we are stronger because you are with us. As we gather this morning, we respectfully acknowledge that our physical building is on the traditional land of the Pocasset people. Before we get started this morning, I invite you to greet your neighbors either here, next to you, or the others joining online. Say hello, introduce yourselves to someone you haven't yet met. We have a few announcements this morning. I'd like you to remind you to stay for coffee and conversation after the service. Today, we welcome Reverend Danielle Lindstrom as our guest speaker. Reverend Danielle is currently serving one of our congregations in Wisconsin and is delighted to be sharing worship with us this morning. We make this time and this place holy simply by being together with each other. And we will begin by lighting the flaming chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Please join me in reciting the words of the chalice lighting affirmation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our hymn, which is our hymn of welcome in the Teal hymnal, Meditation on Breathing, number 1009. The words are also on the screen.
It is so good to be together. Let's say our children's affirmation. The words are on the screen. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We care for the earth and each other. This morning, our story is going to be told by Reverend Danielle, and I have to tell you that I was very excited that she chose the story that was chosen because it is one I have been waiting to tell you. So, take it away.
Good morning. Good morning. I am the Reverend Danielle Lindstrom. My pronouns are she, hers, and it is so good to be with you this morning. Thank you for your warm welcome. I am delighted to share this story, Answer Mountain, and this is by Sarah E. Squire. Long ago and far away, there was a town that sat quiet and content, caught in the side and the shadow of this giant mountain, and carved on the side of that mountain. And actually, Reverend Sarah Marie, will you help me with this? Carved on the side of that mountain were the words,
The answer is no.
no one knew where they had come from or why they were there. They'd always just been there. But oh my goodness, the people in the town loved those words. Because whenever there was a question, whenever the townspeople weren't sure what they had to do, all they had to do was look up the mountain and read it. The answer is no. Making decisions was very simple. Life went on smoothly and easily in this little town cuddled into the mountain until one day. Now, on that particular day, Ma Custis was about to make dinner for her family, and she couldn't decide. Sometimes you can't decide what to make for dinner, whether to make stew or steak or pasta or donuts. So she went into the yard. She looked up at the mountain. Should I make liver for dinner tonight? The mountain said,
The answer is no.
fair enough, no one really likes liver. All right, maybe steak. Should I make steak for dinner?
The answer is no.
Oh, okay. A chicken? Should I make chicken?
The answer is no.
Should I make tacos or tofu or beans or broccoli? Popcorn. Should I make popcorn for dinner?
The answer is no.
Ma Custis kept asking question after question after question, her family getting hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. She went all night asking this question up until the next morning, unsure what to make for dinner. So that next night, she finally made liver anyway. It's the first thing she thought of, and even though her family wasn't fond of dinner, it was better than nothing. It was the first thing she thought of. But Ma Custis had had enough. She glared at that mountain, she stomped her foot and rang the town bell. Everyone came running. Wouldn't it be nice if that mountain said yes every once in a while? Seems to me we have a problem, she told the town. The mountain it's not helping us like it should. We need a yes. The townsfolk, they knew that Ma Custis, she had a point. Like the idea changing something that had been so certain for so long. But after a while, they thought and they nodded and agreed it was time for the mountain to be recarved. Mason Sharp, the stone carver, nodded with the rest of them. He grabbed his hat, gazed at the mountain, and said, all right, I can do the carving, if that's all right with you. So he went to the mountain. 2 weeks it took him to recarve the mountain, and when he was done, the mountain said,
The answer is yes.
the town came running to see what the mountain said. Ma Custis thought she should be the first one to ask it a question. After all, this had been her idea. So she stepped up, looked at that mountain, and said, should I make liver for dinner tonight? The mountain said,
The answer is yes.
Said Ma Custis. The family said they would never forgive me if I made liver for dinner again. Should I really serve liver?
The answer is yes.
Ma Custis didn't like the sound of this, though it was her family that grumbled the loudest. I can't make liver. I promised I wouldn't. Are you telling me I should break my promise?
The answer is yes.
The grumbling got louder. She glared at that mountain, stomped her foot. This can't be right. Right? What are we going to do? So once again, the townsfolk put on their thinking caps and they thought and they thought and they thought and they thought. Finally, one of the smallest, one of the youngest Custis kids stood up. It's amazing how often our best, our brightest, our most hopeful ideas come from our youth. The youngest stood up and said, well, why does there have to be just one answer? Can't we have more? Why had we not thought of that? Oh, so they talked some more and they talked some more and they finally decided the mountain should say, the answer is sometimes yes and sometimes no and sometimes wait and see and sometimes I don't know. Mason the stone carver, who had been listening to all of this, said, okay, I just recarved the mountain, but I can do it again, but I don't have the time that I had last time around. I'll work on it when I can, but maybe in the meantime, we can hang some sort of sign on the mountain, right? Maybe let people know the answer is coming. And so it was. And the funny thing was that for a while, the Mason worked on that mountain every night. And for a little while, everyone in town waited eagerly to see what it would say, wanting that new answer. But the stonemason got tired of climbing that mountain every day. Everyone else got tired of waiting. So they started asking each other questions and helping everyone find the answers that fit. The town people realized that sometimes questions usually had different answers. Sometimes the same question had more than one answer, and there were many more answers than they ever could have imagined. And that was fine. After a while, they thought that maybe the answer the mountain was giving them right then, just as it was better and more sensible than any answer it had given. And so they left it as it was. The mountain said the answer is
Under construction. I want to invite Paige up to light our lantern to bring our chalice flame downstairs with us. And I want to invite any children who are interested in coming downstairs for programming this morning to come with me now as we sing This Little Light of Mine.
This is a time of sharing milestones. It's a time of coming together as a community and in quiet contemplation. Through this sharing, we remind each other that we're all in this together. This sometimes painful and sometimes wonderful human experience. It's a time for deep sharing of personal difficulties as well as reasons for celebration. It's a time to remember those who are ill or in pain in body or spirit, and those who, for whatever reason, need love and support. Together, may we create a heart space for seeking and granting forgiveness, a place where we may put and share grief and loss, a time when we can offer healing and hope, and a time for giving thanks and offering gratitude for blessings great and small. In order to create this space for each other, we refrain from making announcements or sharing political opinions. For the division in our nation and in our families, in our lives, and for an end of violence of all kinds, for fear which keeps us isolated and reactive, for the ways we forget ourselves and without intention hurt each other. We ask for grace and a reminder for all the ways we belong to each other in covenant and in love. So I invite you to come up first, those who have a silent milestone who would like to drop a stone in the water. Now, for those of you who have a spoken milestone, I invite you to come up. And those online, if you would like to post it in the chat, I'll read it aloud for you.
Nancy Hershatter. Yesterday was a very full day. I was celebrating a milestone birthday. I was mourning our dear friend and co-congregant and kayaking buddy, Keith. I got to talk to my mom and sing to her over the phone. And then I got to go out for Indian food with some of the people I love the most. So it was a real roller coaster of a milestone birthday. And I'm really grateful for this community. I thought I'd say that. I've said it before. You mean a lot to me.
Diane Purvis. This week, Brad and I celebrated our anniversary. We have been together for 48 years. I was 12 when I married him.
Good morning, Gail Alexander. As I was listening to the children and the grandchildren, Keith's yesterday, made me reflect on the fact that oftentimes kids and grandkids. I was thinking, oh, I have the best father, best mother, best grandfather. And it made me recall that I really hope that for all children, that they really feel they have the best mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whatever, even though I know that's not always true, unfortunately, still for some. But I hope that for all children.
My phone was covered with birthday cakes falling from the sky in response to your birthday, Nancy.
Oh, okay, who said it?
Sue's. I couldn't read it because there were so many cakes falling down. So it's time for reflection.
Will you join me in the spirit of prayer, the spirit of meditation? Spirit of life and love. It is good to be together. May we share our gratitude for this co-created moment, this space that can hold each of us in our joys, in our sorrows, for all that is between spoken and unspoken. Help us to know, to remember, to hold on to the truth that we are not alone. We are in this moment together. We are held in love always. We are holding so much as individuals, as communities, as we celebrate the life of a dearly beloved in this community, Keith. So loving and caring, I am sure that you could feel that love, that memory around you now. May we be grateful for our communities that hold us and love us and bring us in when we need to be brought in, hold us accountable when we need to be held accountable, for these communities of love. May we nourish and nurture these relationships, and the relationships that extend beyond this room, the interdependent web of care, of creation that leaves no one out and calls all in. May the spirit of courage, the spirit of compassion, and the spirit of commitment sustain us as we move together through and into what is yet to be. May we hope. May we love. We belong to and with each other. May we be well. May all be well, and may we do good in this world. Amen and blessed be. Will you join me in a moment of shared quiet to pray, to meditate, or to dream? Amen and blessed be. I invite you to join in our sung reflection, hymn 123, Spirit of Life. Our reading, Wrestling Like Jacob by the Reverend Sean Parker Dennison. Spirit of life and love, today I wrestle with angels. Perhaps, like Jacob, I will win this fight, but I know full well that nothing is without cost. I will be changed by this struggle. I will never be the same. Today I open my heart to that mysterious beauty we call love and try to understand its stubborn, grandiose vastness. It has taken at least half a lifetime to welcome such love into my own life, to accept that I am wholly and relentlessly loved. Regardless of my faults and errors, I will forever be loved this extravagantly. Never, never will love fail me, but even more, love will never fail. Today I struggle to stretch myself so that I can hold, even for one brief moment, a vision of love that fails no one. A love that can redeem the irredeemable, comfort those whose suffering appears beyond comfort, and when rejected, grow even more vast, ever more patient, ever more ready to forgive. In struggling to know this unfathomable love, may my heart be stretched and opened, making room for more love, and even more love. So ends our reading.
When we give of our time and our energy to the work of this congregation, and when you donate to its financial support, you are giving gifts to each of us. Each one gives to and receives gifts from all of our members. Together, we give to the community around us. To make a gift this morning, you can use the link or the QR code, which should be posted in the chat and projected on the screen. You may also mail a check to UUCD at 24 Clappert Ridge Road in Danbury. Thank you so much for your generosity.
I answered the phone and I was so unsure of what to expect. It was my first overnight on call as a hospital chaplain. The nurse explained that there was a woman in the extended care unit who wanted someone to come and pray with her. As I left the chaplain's office and made my way to the unit, my heart started to beat so hard. My hands started to get very sweaty. I was just worried. I was so worried whether my prayer, whether my words would be beautiful, or whether they would be meaningful, or whether I would have any words at all. I made it up to her room, and before I would enter any room, I would sing to myself hymn 131, Love Will Guide Us. Do we know that? We know it! Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road, free to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. I would sing that to myself every time I entered the room. It was my centering practice, that reminder of that love. So I sang it and I entered her room. We talked for a bit. She asked me some questions, shared that her dad was a Methodist pastor, but that he wouldn't mind her praying with a Unitarian. We held hands and we prayed. My fear, right? The fear of my words just drifted away. It was never about the words. After the prayer, I went to get up and leave. My work was done. We had done the thing. We visited. We prayed. It was done. It was time to go, but she held on to my hand. And I tried to leave. I kept like, come on. But I couldn't, my body wouldn't follow. So I stayed and I focused on my breath, held her hand and hoped she couldn't feel how nervous I was, how unsure I was of what to do. Eventually, and I have no idea how long we sat there, she let go of my hand. She thanked me, rolled over, and went to sleep. Consciously, I wasn't sure exactly what to do at that moment, but in my body, I felt that connection, the sacred space we had created together, the love moving between us and around us. I say often that we are held in love always. I believe we can feel that love always, but there are moments when that love is all we can feel. She taught me to look closely, to trust what isn't said, but what is felt, and most importantly, keep breathing. Stay present. This is a practice to take a breath, to look closely, to pause before acting. Pastor and author on Black theology, Otis Moss, tells a story about his children. Right? In a moment of luck, he finds himself able to look closely, to see beyond what's there. He begins one of his chapters with a story of his children. He hears them playing with the dog in the basement. They're laughing, having a great time. He decides to walk downstairs and join them, see what they're up to. He walks down the stairs only to see the dog was covered in paint. Paint covers everything. Paint on the walls, everywhere. He shares this wasn't a profound crisis, but something no one wants to walk downstairs to find. He then offers this advice, quote, when you have kids in your home, you need to find some way to get accustomed to chaos because you're going to get plenty of it. I have a 3-year-old myself, so I remind myself of this regularly. But this morning, rather than go into anger, he writes that he is able to take a breath, get himself out of that irritation, and see what's really there. Quote, for a moment, he writes, I saw what they saw. Not just a rule-breaking mess on the walls, which it was, but also a picture. Michaela, Elijah, Mommy, the dog, and me. The children had painted a mural, a family portrait of their exuberant love. It was even signed, not just by Elijah and Michaela, but also the paw prints of Mateo. He writes, my heart melted. There was still a mess. There was still a mess that we had to clean up together. But thanks to love, he writes, I saw something more. And then he offers this challenge. The question is whether there might be some way to use the harsh, unpredictable winds and the relentless currents of our lives to get us moving where we actually want to go. Do we have the spiritual audacity and the practical means to turn chaotic energy to our own purposes, into creation itself? To consecrate, he writes, is to make holy, to put into service for good. It starts with a breath, a pause. In that breath is the possibility for creation. A breath before chiseling away at the mountain, the gift that is getting to be under construction. A breath to feel the creation of a sacred moment between two people, between a room full of people. A breath to see that there is love in the chaos. From the work of our Unitarian Universalist Association on Article 2, on our covenant, on our principles, we have love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Out of this love flows one of our values, pluralism. From that proposed bylaw, we celebrate that we are all sacred beings. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. And from that inclusion section, we strive to be an association of congregations to welcome all persons who share our values. These encourage a focus on how we welcome one another into our communities, into our faith, into our relationships, right? In my own congregation, I found myself regularly saying, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. That's how we start the service. You are welcome here into this space, right? You are welcome here. This love is available to all. Come in. You're welcome. Welcome here. And I hadn't thought more really about what I meant. What was being heard in that you are welcome here. Lisa Kenton quotes this idea. Right? She offers an invitation into what do we mean by welcome? How are we welcoming folks into our communities? She writes and invites, the whole thinking has to be changed, right? From we are welcoming you into our community, right? That's my welcome. We are welcoming you into our community, into we are creating community together. This was an aha moment for me. Each time we come together, we are creating sacred space. We are creating something in the moment. And if, as Octavia Butler writes, all you touch, you change, all that you change changes you, the only lasting truth is change, then our work isn't to invite people into already created structures with expectations, both named and unnamed, but rather to welcome everyone into the creation of this community, in the creation of this moment. For this community will be different, will be expanded by all that someone brings with them. If we are to be the ones who listen, who partner with, and make real the vision of beloved community, that vision that's offered by the work of our 8th principle, beloved community happens when people of diverse racial, ethnic, educational, class, gender, abilities, sexual orientations, backgrounds, identities come together in an interdependent relationship of love, mutual respect, and care that seeks to realize justice within the community and the broader world. Right? If that's the work we're called to partner with to make real, we have to be ready to be constantly creating, constantly learning, constantly under construction. Otis Moss asks, do we have the spiritual audacity and the practical means to turn chaotic energy into our own purposes, into creation itself? We experience chaotic energy in our congregations, right? It might be internal conflict. It could be reckoning with our glory days, those stories we tell about who we once were. Right? Trying to find a way forward in the church that exists today, or something happens in our community, something in our world that breaks our hearts, an environmental catastrophe, a global pandemic, right, that devastated families and completely changed not only how we were able to be together, it pushed us to be together in ways we couldn't have imagined before. And we created something, right? We created something together in our communities during the pandemic, and that's carried us into this moment. We saw her on our video screen briefly this morning, right? People started calling each other more, started checking in more. The church that I was at the time barely had a functioning sound system. And within 4 days, we were online, checking in, figuring out how to remain a community. And that first Sunday, that first Zoom service, we saw members of the church that hadn't been able to attend for over a year. Right? They weren't able to attend due to their health, but there they were. We saw Alice. We love Alice and how we missed her. And there she was. Right? And after that, we would never have another Sunday without a way for people to join. Chaotic energy and spiritual audacity to create. Right? All of our congregations had to find new ways of reaching out, of staying together, a deeper appreciation of what was an idea, but now for so many of us is embodied, that we are not the building, we are the people. It is the people who gather here. We created together new ways of worship, new ways of staying connected, a new understanding of our commitment, right? Our value of accessibility. I have learned sometimes need to be reminded that conflict, that chaos can be an opportunity for connection and deepening. I have learned that in congregations, we are often in conflict because we care deeply about something. And if we can stay in relationship, if we can stay in covenant, if we can stay at the table, we can go deeper, trust more, love more, expand our understanding. And I want to make just an aside here to say that sometimes staying in relationship is not possible, right? That is not possible. And these are moments that require different kind of care and different kind of boundaries, right? Different questions that require different answers. So that is a truth for so many of us. In this moment, as we talk about how we stay together, right? I shared this practice for transformation. This comes to us from author and activist Adrienne Maree Brown, who offers 3 questions that we can use to help transform, to go deeper into our relationships. The first question she offers us is why? She invites us to use this why as a framework. When conflict happens, we can practice taking a breath, asking why someone responded, maybe reacted in a way we didn't expect. Often we will find that unknown underlying cause. What can we learn from this? What can we learn from this moment? Our second question. Our third, how can our actions contribute to transforming this situation? Take a breath. What can we do? What's possible to create? What's possible going forward? Why? What can we learn? What can we create? How can we act in this moment based on our values, our covenant, our commitment to relationship? Do we have the spiritual audacity and the practical means to turn chaotic energy to our own purposes, into creation itself? We can, as long as we remember to turn toward each other. We are a people of constant creation. We have to be. We have to be. This is not yet the world we dream about, right? And that world is going to take patience and practice and listening and listening and listening some more and creativity. We cannot be at the bottom of the mountain waiting for the answer, waiting for the yes or no. We are by definition under construction, but we have an unshakable foundation. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our values through the spiritual discipline of love. A relentless love, regardless of faults and errors. A love that will forever love this extravagantly. A love that can redeem the irredeemable, comfort those whose suffering appears beyond comfort. We are creating sacred community together. Take a breath. Feel that love around you, around all of us. In this shared breath, countless possibilities. All of us, all of this, under construction. And that is a beautiful thing. Amen and blessed be.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. And now please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our hymn of celebration, Come and Go With Me. I think I may have written that down wrong.
When our heart is in a holy place.
When our heart is in the holy place.
Our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell the story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Our worship is over, our service begins. May we know, may we remember, may we practice that we are creating sacred community together. Take a breath. Feel that love around you, around all of us. In this shared breath, countless possibilities. All of us, all of this, constantly under construction, and that is a beautiful, hard thing. Go forth in love. Go forth sharing that love with those you meet until we return again. Thank you.
This morning, don't move anywhere yet. Our postlude we're going to create together. So I have asked a couple of choir members to sort of take on some sections. We're going to sing together the song that the choir sing as the opener today. So if you could think of everybody in this section here, you're going to be part 1, okay? Back here, you're part 2. Guessed it, yep. Over here, you're going to be part 3, and back here, part 4. So we will start together, everyone singing verse 1 and verse 2 of There's a Love. If you're not sure of the words, it's very simple. You'll figure it out quickly. And then after we've done verse 1 and 2, we will start that in a round with part 1 beginning. You keep going, pay attention to your leaders. Part 2, you'll begin, etc. Let's see what kind of chaos we can create on our way out. Everyone together. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all I rest in His love. Verse 2, there's love holding us. There is a love holding us. Part 1. Holding me. Part 2. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding me. So everyone is invited to join the choir. Check the info for rehearsals. Have a beautiful Sunday.